Let's talk some PGA real quick. It's the RSM Classic, the final event of the FedExCup Fall. This is always a bittersweet moment for golf fans. We're waiting until December when we have the Hero World Challenge on the site, but this is kind of it for golf fans looking for value from the dimer spot for a while.
Yep, pretty much putting it on the shelf till January after this. Yeah, we'll have the Hero World Challenge if all is the same. We've had that last year. I've written up articles for that before. So we will have at least one more event for you. But until then, it'll be the next season in January, which honestly isn't that far away. Find me another off season with less than 2 months to turn around. Anyway, final chance for players to secure a top 100 FedEx Cup ranking, which gives you fully exempt status on the tour next year. Not going to touch on that really today, but I am planning to write an article for subscribers. It'll go on the site that looks at guys who are on the bubble, possibly finding some sneaky value on those right outside the top 100, maybe some guys to fade who are inside the top 100, and see if we could find a little bit extra bit of plays there. But try to go through this real quick here. This is at Sea Island Golf Course in Georgia. This will play on 2 different courses at the club. It's called the Seaside Course and the Plantation Course. The Plantation Course will play just 1 round. I believe that will be round 2. It might be split, actually. I should know that, but come the cut, the final 2 rounds will be on the Seaside Course, which is primarily featured here for this one. Very similar distance, 7,005 yards for Seaside, 7,060 for Plantation. Pretty stacked field compared to last week, certainly. 4 major champions in this. 10 winners from this year, 12 multi-time winners, reigning champ Maverick McNeely. And tight finishes are pretty common here. 4 of the last 6 decided by 1 stroke or less. Well, it can't be 1 stroke, but yeah, 1 stroke. 3 playoffs as well in that span. Course is not overly difficult. Accuracy is pretty important. The fairways are wide, but there's a lot of water in play on the Seaside Course. A very high penalty rate on this course. I think one of the highest over the last 10 years. Distance isn't really as important since guys are just trying to land it on the fairway and avoid the water hazards and the out of bounds stuff. Approach pretty important here, though it is one of the easier courses to gain. But if you're good there, you're going to find very much success. Usually a big separator on this one is putting. I was doing some research. 38% of strokes gained by guys last year came on the greens, so expect a lot of separation to come there. Greens are fast, greens are sloped, so you want guys who are just straight up good with the putter. So let's look at our winners here. We've got 3 guys here. Actually, I'll pull up the predictions real quick so we can kind of go through this together. We have 3 winners right at the top with an edge, and they are not all the favorite golfers. We are aligned with the books with Harris English, who is the favorite here, but then we've got Brian Harmon and Denny McCarthy, who are above the book's next favorite of Siwoo Kim. So I'll just talk about these 3 guys real quick, and then we've got a long shot I'll touch on. Harris English, plus 2,300, 7.2% probability. That's fair at plus 1,290, so a really big value. I mean, 10-1 standalone value right there. He's threatens more often than he actually wins, but there's no denying a pretty impressive year this season. Won at the Farmers Insurance Open, pair of runner-ups in majors, one top 25 here since 2017, so not a ton of success at this course. Since his missed cut in March, 9 top 20s or better, just very, very consistent. His ranks 50th off the tee, 74th in accuracy, nothing crazy, but he's above average. However, he's 17th overall in putting, which, as mentioned, is a big separator here. Not great on approach. He's pretty under average across the board there, so he'll kind of have to make up for it in between. But if he can get on the green in a good spot or even a tricky spot, he's probably going to shave off some strokes and climb the board. Brian Harmon, plus 3,000 here. 4.8 win percent probability would be fair, just under plus 2,000. So another value of 10-1. You put $10 on this guy, that's $100 difference between fair odds and the odds on the books. So immense value from the model alone. This is the first time Harman's golfed in the States since the Tour Championship. He did one DP World Tour event like a month ago, finished T26 there. Local to Georgia here, so maybe he's playing on some home turf a little bit. He went T10, T22, T19, and T13 since the Open through the Tour Championship, so pretty successful and consistent. Pretty mid-ranked in all major categories here. Strength lies in accuracy, but he's not the best finisher. So, probably find himself in contention late, but the model's got some very good value on him here. Third guy we'll look at, one of the better golfers on PGA Tour who hasn't won, Denny McCarthy, 4.3% win probability here. Not quite as much value as the rest. Fair at plus 22.25. Hasn't really competed in like 3 months, basically, but 10 top 25s this year. Pair of top 10s, 5th ranked putter on tour. Very, very good putter. 58th overall on approach, which is above average, and he's right at average off the tee. So if he just has a very Denny McCarthy weekend, he should find himself in contention, and then just needs to go one step above that to get the win and add something to his repertoire that he hasn't had yet.
We could all only be so lucky to have a Denny McCarthy weekend this weekend.
I think any of us would relish a Denny McCarthy weekend on even our best golf day. And we got one long shot down here I want to look at. Ryan Gerard, 1.3%. That's really low, obviously, but fair at plus 75.90, 7,600 or so. 3 top 10s, 10 top 25s. This year, he won at the Barracuda Championship, which uses a totally unique scoring format. Where you actually want more points. You get points for your like a double eagles, like 8 points, and eagles 5 points, stuff like that. So it rewards guys who like take risks. And he won that one, taking all the risks. So he was incentivized to take those risks and go for it, and he was rewarded. So very accurate driver and approach. Not a very good putter though. Plus 9,000 for a reason. 1.3%. You put a couple bucks here, and if he pulls off the upset, you're looking pretty good. Only thing I will add besides that is obviously we'll have a little bit more insights in our article. If any more value pops up, check that on site. Just that the top 3 guys don't really have any crazy value in ladders, but they're all about fair odds all the way through. So if you're looking for alternatives to outright winners, you can bet them. The model is aligned with them, but just no real edges to speak of. As you can see, I'll just click through real quick. You got no flames, but this is about fair here. So yeah, something to be done.
Important note, you got to know where you're betting, where you can find the value here. And honestly, on that note, shout out to Bet Rivers for the golf odds. Feels like all the value plays here coming courtesy of Bet Rivers this week. Love to see that.
Not uncommon, especially with the outrights. Placements, we see a lot of the other stuff, primarily DraftKings. But yep, Bet Rivers usually gets a little bit better for the outrights.
Fascinating. Good to know. All right. Well, there you go. There is your preview for the RSM Classic. Hopefully you can make some money one more time before the FedEx Fall ends.